Good morning. How are we all today? So today I wanted to talk a little bit in terms of about how we help our clients make their dreams a reality. Now, this isn't specifically about us per se, this is about them. But I wanted to give you some hints and tips in terms of how we actually make that happen for them. So I wanted to give you the first example is in relation to Alice. Now, Alice has this most incredible interior design business, and she's literally flourishing. And when she started working with us, and this was a few years ago now, her dream was to be able to buy her first house. And she didn't think because she was a business owner, she'd be able to get a mortgage and she wouldn't be able to make her dream a reality. And what we did is we sat down, and whilst we are not mortgage advisors, we steered her in the right direction in terms of that. But we do have a solid grounding as to the basics of what's required, and reassured her that her dream could be a reality. And what we did was we then started to look at her numbers, and we worked out a way in which she could, through effectively utilising her business, be able to get the mortgage and get her foot on the ladder. And you know what? I think she's been in that house now for a few years. She is happily engaged, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this with the world, Alice. And she's got a beautiful baby girl who is, I think, recently just turned 1. So for her reality, literally her dreams are all coming true, and her business is literally going from strength to strength. And ultimately, we were the ones that were able to help her understand how she could get her business to grow, and also be able to look at the cash forecasting to be able to make that dream become a reality. And that's just some of the things that we touch upon with our clients. And when we are talking about goal setting and business planning, etc., this is where what I call a business growth plan, is absolutely imperative. But there is no good writing down all of this information if you then do not take the action steps to actually do the things that you have set out in your business plan. So, it's important that when you set your goal, whether, you first of all think about often your personal goal first. Once you know what your personal goal is, you then work out how your business is ultimately going to help you achieve that personal goal. So then what you're then going to do is, when you know what the personal goal is and you know what you need out of your business to be able to hit it. So for example, one of my clients, her dream is to have the house in France. So what we do with her is we say, right, to be able to do that, she needs X amount out of her business to be able to make that dream a reality. Okay, so how can we get to X point? And that's then when we break it down into milestone steps. So we look at, okay, she needs to be generating a certain amount of money per month in terms of income to be able to take this out of the business. But we've also then got to factor in, well, what are the business expenses? Because just because you're turning over this amount that you need to be able to take out, you can't then ignore everything else that's also got to be paid for. So you're looking at it on a very holistic and global kind of scale. It's not just the amount that you're taking out. So you need to then break down in terms of knowing, okay, how much do you need to be able to live on? How much do you need to be able to make this purchase, or whatever this dream is, a reality? How much do you need to actually then be paying out in terms of business expenses? So this is where a cash flow forecast is really, really imperative. And then what do you actually need to be able to put back into the business to invest in it? Because what you don't want to do is literally take every single thing out of the business, because ultimately you will still need to reinvest back in it for your business to grow. But then once you know those numbers, you'll then can say, right, you're looking at things like your average transaction value. What is the product or service that you sell that is the most profitable? And in your business plan, as I went through recently in terms of the various things that need to be included within a business plan, you then say, right, I want this amount of services to be per month, and for example, you might even offer more than one service. So, for example, when you're looking at a law firm, you will look at the area of law that is the most profitable and you focus on marketing on the first two of those. And certainly, I would say so when you're doing a marketing campaign, you want to focus on one area at a time over a certain period of time, and you work on the one that is the most profitable. So, I know from experience that things like conveyancing is not a profitable area. Often crime is not particularly profitable unless you're looking at white collar crime or motoring offences. But things like family can be very profitable. So you look at the areas that are the most profitable and you then turn around and say, right, to reach that particular goal of, I know that I need to generate this amount in my business to pay all of my business bills, to make my dream a reality, to be able to pay all of my bills that I need to pay. Right, okay, how many sales do I actually need to achieve that? Okay, I know I need, and you're looking at the average transaction value. So things like, for example, with family law, that is very much a case of every transaction could be a different length. So what you then need to be doing is looking at what is the typical value, how far do you typically take? Because, for example, when I was a family lawyer, I would do my best to avoid it going to a final hearing, and usually, and I'm talking a bit legal language here, I would, by the FDR at the latest, I would have got a deal done, if not even before the financial proceedings have even been issued. And we've got we've done a voluntary financial disclosure and we've got a consent order into place, right? So I would then look at how much those fees would be as an average, and I would say, right, I would take that particular average and then work out the figures. And you'll have some that will be below and some that will be above, but you just take that average figure and you would say, for example, I want to generate 50 grand a month, right? And and this is again plucking figures, please don't take this as gospel, is that you need, say, for example, your average transaction value would be, when you'd be billing a client, maybe 2 grand a month. And I'm not going through the whole transaction value, because the thing is, for example, you could say an average transaction value could be 10 grand on Family Matter, for argument's sake. You're not going to receive that full 10 grand in a month. You'll receive it over a set period of time, and that's all dependent on things like the court process, etc., etc. So if you took on average, you would be receiving, say, 2 grand a month per transaction. You want to hit 50k, you then do the math in terms of how many clients you need. You then need to then look back at, okay, how many leads do you need to get in terms of prospective new clients? And then look at your conversion rate to see how many you're converting, right? So these are all the action steps. So then you're then looking at, okay, how do I actually get those leads in the door? So this then comes down to your marketing strategy, which would then be in a different document as to how you're going to generate these leads. So what you can then do is say, right, that, for example, when you're creating a cash flow forecast, because you're not going to be at that 50k straight away, it's going to be an incremental increase. So therefore you're going to be like, right, so I want to hit 10 grand a month, I want to hit 20 grand, blah, 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 right? And you work out at what stage in your cash flow forecast you're going to get to each level. So you then know when you're going to start hitting the 50k and you're consistently going to be hitting that 50k, because it isn't going to be something that happens overnight. And you then, at each step, you're doing that reverse engineering process I just went through with you. Then you've got in terms of your business plan, you've got that cash flow forecast. You're then looking at, what you need to do. You've then got your business plan as to how many you need to be selling. You've then got your marketing plan, which is telling you how you're actually going to achieve those sales. I hope this is all really making sense, and I'm going through it mega fast today, but I hope you'll get some real value from this. But by having this written down, you have then got a plan as to what you want to achieve and how you are actually going to achieve it. Now, if you want to help in creating your business plan or your business growth plan, your marketing plan, and you want help in implementing this, then you need to make sure that you get in touch. So put in the comments plan or send me a DM, or you can even book straight into a strategy session with me. It's completely free. We'll do a deep dive in terms of looking at where you want your business to be, what's stopping you getting there, and how I can help you. So I hope you've got some great value from today. At the end of the day, we love helping our clients reach their dreams, and you could be the next success story. Thanks for listening, and I will see you all very soon.